What is going on, guys? It's Carl. We are back with another video on Newcastle Fans TV, and already it's game day weekend. Sheffield United v Newcastle United, and this one's the preview. It's coming up.
I might go forever, go for eons. Friend like you don't be on. Pull up in the Tesla, Elon. When I was a kid, I was a phenom. When I was a kid, I was a beast. I pull up, then I be gone. See ya, see ya, see ya. Be gone. See ya, see ya, see ya. Be gone. Thumbing through the blues, no BB King. Back to back shit, so it's like.
Yes, Newcastle United travel to Bramall Lane this weekend to take on newly promoted Sheffield United in what should be, or could be, another banana skin fixture for Newcastle United. Sheffield United not having the best of starts to their Premier League campaign. They have put on some encouraging performances, but ultimately succumbing to defeats. It's not been the best start that they would have wanted over at Bramall Lane. As I said, starting their Premier League campaign with very encouraging performances. One to note against was Crystal Palace, first game of the season, of which they ultimately came to lose 1-0, which would have been a bit of a sickener for the Sheffield United side, who played very, very, very well against obviously a very well established Crystal Palace side. Then moving on to Nottingham Forest, they were defeated 2-1. And after that, a difficult fixture against Manchester City, albeit at home, another 2-1 defeat. But a spirited display from Sheffield United, who will not go down without a fight. After the cup game, they then come up against Everton at home and manage to take a 2-2 draw. Will they be taking encouragement from that? Probably not, because Everton are probably one of the weaker sides in the Premier League at the moment, but I guess it does ultimately show Sheffield United's level, and that is unfortunately, and I think we all expected that they were going to be in and around the bottom 6 of the table, and that's currently where they are, sitting in 17th at the moment. Do I feel like Sheffield United could come good? Absolutely. Do I feel like they could give us a difficult difficult hurdle on Sunday, tomorrow afternoon? Absolutely I do, because we haven't been at our best, albeit us coming up against some of the top sides in the Premier League already, in Manchester City, Liverpool, Brighton of course, who've played some fantastic football so far. Yes, getting a result against Brentford, but Brentford again a very, very difficult side to beat. Do I expect us to beat Sheffield United? Yes. Is it a given? Absolutely not. Not only that, we have Manchester City at home on Tuesday night in the Carabao Cup. And that, I think, tomorrow, obviously we're going to be focusing on the league, but is Eddie Howe going to have one eye on that Carabao Cup tie? I think so, because he's going to be looking at all avenues this season as to where we can potentially get some silverware, or certainly compete to have a very good run in either the Premier League, the Carabao Cup, the Champions League, whatever that may be. We have avenues, and he's not going to want to play a weakened side in any one of those competitions. Now, the strength and depth that we have is not the greatest, but it's possibly the best we've had for a long time. Is it enough to compete and be competitive in all of those 4 competitions? No, I don't think so. At some point, we are going to have to choose which path we focus on. But it begs the question, who starts in a Sheffield United game tomorrow? And this we'll have a look at right now. I absolutely agree with a lot of the pundits outside of the Newcastle space that think he was the reason that we come away with a point, and I personally agree with that. I know a lot of people, even within the Newcastle Fans TV chat, don't agree with me, but honestly I thought AC Milan battered us at times. I really did, and I think we did very well defensively, and I thought it was a great result to come away with a point. But yeah, they were very, very difficult to contain when they were on the break, and I thought the space that they found between our midfield and our defence was huge, and they did that very, very easily. And when I use the term battered, I just mean in terms of their attacking progressions that they had. Yes, they didn't score, but I think if they had a half decent striker, they could have put 2 or 3 past us. But that's not taking anything away from the lads. I thought we were fantastic. I thought we were good value for a point in the end, the way that we defended and the way Nick Pope played. And it was certainly a fantastic introduction into the Champions League. And I think the comments from the likes of Arturo Vidal were unnecessary and quite frankly a little bit ridiculous, saying that we should have been going there to and really taking it to AC Milan. I get that to a certain extent, but if we want to try and progress out of this, the one thing that we don't want to do is lose, and we didn't. So fantastic for the lads. Let's get into my predicted 11 for tomorrow, and obviously I'm going to start with none other than Nick Pope, who at the back we'll be going with Sven Botman and I think Fabian Schär. Fabian Schär looked to pick up a little bit of a knock, but I don't think it's anything too serious, so if anything has changed since then, please do forgive me. And I'll be starting Dan Burn out on the left and Kieran Trippier out on the right, who I thought, again, Dan Burn had made a fantastic account of himself against Champions League regulars and Champions League opposition. And Kieran Trippier has obviously played at that level, and you could tell that he played at the level. I think that was the difference between us and AC Milan. They had far more players that were used to playing at that level, and that's something that we had to build up to. And I think that's why, for me, Kieran Trippier stood out amongst everybody. I thought he was the best player on the pitch for Newcastle, personally. Almost entirely, to be honest. I thought he was fantastic. But yeah, that's where we'll be starting. So this is a difficult one in terms of the midfield. There's lots of people talking about the fact that this midfield isn't working. I do agree somewhat, but we're only 4 or 5 games in, 6 maybe including the Champions League. But and Eddie Howe has also come out and said that Sandro Tonali actually hasn't been training with the first team that much because of international commitments and so forth, which is absolutely understandable. So we can't expect him to be where we want him to be or where we would have liked him to be without training with the first team. Simple. So that will come, and that is fine. He is a top player. He's played at the top level for a while now, even though he's still only 23 years old. But to get to where we want him to be, he's going to have to be in first team training, and that will obviously progress on from here. And it's going to be difficult because of the amount of games that we're playing. So it may take a little bit longer for him to bed in to the style of player that Eddie Howe wants to play across that midfield 3. I think it will be a little bit easier when Joe Linton and Joe Willock are back. Is Joe Linton back tomorrow? I'm not entirely sure. If he was, I think he would go into that starting 11. But I think it will be similar to the AC Milan starting 11. I think it will be Sandro Tonali, Bruno Guimaraes and Sean Longstaff. But if Eddie Howe is focusing on that Manchester City game as well, he could well leave Sandro Tonali out and start Elliot Anderson. Is that something that you expect to see? I personally don't. Then I would be looking to start Anthony Gordon out on the left. I think Callum Wilson starts up top tomorrow. And I think Miguel Almiron out on the right. That is my predicted 11, with Alexander Isak not really getting the service that he's wanted, and possibly in some eyes not giving the performances that we were used to last season. I don't think he's had the greatest start to his season, but again, it is the start. We've played some fantastic sides. It's not the end of the world. I do see it as a good opportunity, though, to bring in Callum Wilson and start Alexander Isak on Tuesday. Or if Alexander Isak starts tomorrow, I believe Callum Wilson will start on Tuesday. So play around with that how you want to. But I personally would start Anthony Gordon and Miguel Almiron tomorrow, personally. What do you guys think? What is your predicted 11 for the Sheffield United game? Let me know in the comments. Let me know if you agree with what I've said. Let me know how you feel about the AC Milan Newcastle United game. If you're a member, you will have seen my members video that I put out with a little bit more of an extensive look at how I thought we performed. If you're not a member, become a member. We produce loads more content as well. Yeah, score predictions as well. I am going for a difficult because I don't think it's going to be easy, because I think Sheffield United play very, very good football, to be honest. Yes, they've not had the greatest results, but I don't think it's going to be an easy fixture tomorrow. I'm going to go with a 2-1 win to Newcastle United away at Bramall Lane to take, hopefully, Newcastle back into the top 10 where we now belong, surely. Sitting in 12th is horrible. But yeah, it's been your boy Carl, and we'll see you in the next one.